Thank you all again for joining the Falling for Learning podcast. In this episode today, we have a special guest. It is Benita Gordon. She is an innovative education strategist, a micro school developer, and the founder of Global Education Concierge. She has her podcast, the Education Concierge podcast. And today she's going to tell us about micro schools
Mhm.
and what they can do for you to help your child get on track for success. Hi, thank you so much for joining the Falling for Learning podcast. I am TD Blennaw. We have this podcast to help parents and caregivers with having the resources, strategies, and tools needed to make sure that their children are on track for learning and to stay on track for success. Thank you
Yes.
so thank you so much, Benita, for joining us today. Um, thank you so much. How is it going? How are you doing?
Well, first of all, thank you for coming on your platform or having a platform for parents. That's important in the education atmosphere that we all circle around and try and navigate through. I'm doing great. It is a great time in education. I know you're like, girl, is it? But it is. It's a great time in education because we're able now to see what innovative education looks like, what it should look like, and how we can access it. For the longest time, we've always had private schools, parochial schools, religious based schools, whether it was Muslim to Catholic to Jewish to Protestant or Baptist, as we want to say, Episcopal.
Right.
And at times it was out of reach for traditional parenting or regular parents. Now we have this innovative education, and now we know that it can be in reach for parents who realize that the traditional setting doesn't work for their child or children. And so that's why I say it's a great time to be in education. I believe in public school education. Shout out to Brunswick County Public Schools in Lawrenceville, Virginia. Educated me amazingly. I went to Hampton University prepared and ready. But I do realize that being in education over 26 years, I miss some kids.
All right.
Some kids slip through the crack of me teaching 35 students in the eighth grade reading class where everybody's reading on different reading levels, but you want me to teach to the test, and then you want me to do social, all of the things. And so
Yes.
that's what we now have innovative education, atmosphere and setting. So we can say, parents, look, out of your three children, maybe the middle child, I'm a middle child, uh,
Me too.
we might need something else. Or if you
Mm-hmm.
have a child that's in gymnastics, or a child that's swim, or a child that's a track star.
Right.
Traditional school doesn't always work for them because of their schedule and their drive and the sacrifices they have to make.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have homeschool pods, homeschool hubs, we have learning pods, and we have micro schools.
So we have jumped right into everything and we're going to learn more. Can you tell us what it was, that thing that made you fall in love with learning as a child?
Oh goodness. That is a good question. I've been trying to think like, what is it? Um, so I want to say, oh, because I got, people got excited because I was doing stuff. But I'm a self-motivator. Like I love to see my name in lights, but I'm also
Yes.
okay being in the background.
Yes.
And so I think for me, it's just the thought that I could do this. Like, I got this. My brain is beautiful. My brain works.
Wonderful.
Um, Look at what God did. Like all of those things like that. And so I would say I fell in love. I will tell you, I fell in love with learning for real as a talented and gifted student in about the sixth grade. And I had a teacher, Miss Freeman.
Mm,
And Miss Freeman was our gifted teacher. So we got pulled out of class 2 days a week and we went to a completely different building.
okay.
And one of the activities or lessons we did was we walked in and she had um, not turtles, frogs and birds for us to dissect. Okay. And people like, "Okay, we do that all the time." No. She had them there, and she had on the equipment, and on the board, it was, like, equipment labeled and, like, a hearts labeled and the things we needed to do, but nothing was done.
Mm.
There was no real direction. She was just like, "This needs to be done in 2 hours. And you need to have everything labeled, and you need to have everything pinned. You need to follow directions, you need to work together." And you're sitting there like, "Is she serious?" And I'll never forget, she went over everything, she asked if we have any questions, and she she, like, walked around, like, this corner where her desk was, where she could see us, and read the newspaper, the Richmond Times. And we were like, and we did it, like, helping each other. We have a scalpel, like, we're trying to cut open the thing, and it smells, and we're like, "Oh my god, like, what is this?" People are like, "That is the weirdest moment," but that moment, I
Mm.
fell in love with learning, and then it happened again in chemistry class with Miss Ash, honors chemistry. I think I was a 12th grader, 11th grader, and, she had this vat of something, and she said, "Hey, put your arm in here." And she lit me on fire, and she was like, "Put me out," because you can't do that now. This is back in the 1900s. Don't do that now. And she, put me out, and she was like, you know, "What do you smell? What do you feel? What do you do?" And
Mhm.
and she said, "Y'all have the entire week to figure out what's in this vat." And I'm a country girl, so if not, vat is a bucket, a clear bucket, y'all. I'm a country girl.
Okay. I love this.
And that made me realize that learning didn't just look one way, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the idea that learning could be, Imma give you something and then you unpack it.
I love that. So what I hear is what you when you started, you told us that you're a self-starter, and I think that again really appeals to who you are. And it may not have worked for everyone or that group of students, but she those both of those teachers had an idea of something that's really going to spark your interest,
Yes.
and it really did, and it's something that stuck with you, and I mean that is amazing. So, as you are growing up and you have you know, this spark about learning and exploring, how did that show up in other places, in the activities that you were involved in, hobbies, and even like what you pursued in your higher education?
So shout out to my parents. Our mom, Brenda, passed away. Our dad, Millard, is still
Oh,
here. And, they knew
my
their kids.
condolences.
Thank you. They knew their kids. It's 3 of us. I'm in the middle, like I said, the oldest sister 5 years in front of me and a brother 5 years behind. I don't know if they planned it or not. They never told us whether they was and so I never forget my sister was taking piano. My mom's family plays piano. And my sister was playing piano. My mom and dad are like, "You're 4 or 5. It's time for you to, get into something."
Yes.
And so they took me to the piano, and you play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and I was playing it because my grandma had taught me how to play it, and I'll never forget Mrs. Jones looked at me and said, "Not this one," and I was like, "Did she talk about me? Because I just played my little heart out."
He said, "This is not for you."
And she was like, "Not this one, she doesn't have it," and I kinda knew it. My brain didn't work like that, and my mom and they were like, "That's fine," and they were like, "Saturday, you have gymnastics and dance." And fell in love, like, movement and the sound and the beat and the
Mm.
flipping, and I think
Yeah.
from there, I realized that, um, that's okay, like, that door closes, that's okay.
Mhm.
What's the
Mhm.
path for me? 'Cause
Right.
I love my sister, I'm trying to be like her, and the lady was like, "No, mm-mm." And even now, like, my sister was in the band in high school, I was a cheer.
Yeah.
And so it was okay. We're still sisters, but it was different. And so from understanding that my parents knew their children and then teaching me to know what I like and what I don't like and what you start, you finish, that
Mm.
evolved into me going, "Oh, I want to be a nurse." So I applied to college as a nursing major
Okay.
and pediatric nurse. I'm going to save the babies and work with the babies, still children. Um, and I went to Hampton as a nursing major. When you go to college as a nursing major, you're not a nursing major till you pass the little board and you take the class.
Right. Uh-huh.
And I woke up freshman year, I think I was in the middle of the semester, and I went and changed my major to early childhood education,
Okay.
English. And I
Okay.
called my mom and dad, and they said, "Oh my gosh, thank you. You've always all of our money," because we knew, like, I was fighting it, and I just didn't wanna do it. Teachers made no money. And so from that, I was saying, "Okay, I'm gonna walk in this path that I'm good at. I'm good at this. I'm good at teaching you how to do it. I'm good at breaking it down. I'm good at motivating you. I'm good at encouraging you." But that's all because how my parents poured into us.
Yes.
And so that's where it started from. So shout out to them always for being who I needed them to be. Like I tell
Yeah.
people all the time, I was like, we didn't get a lot of, I didn't. I cannot speak for my brother and my sister. I did not get a lot of spankings.
Okay.
That they would have to tell their own stories. But my dad says that he said, because a lot of times we could say to you, that's not a good idea, or you need to do something else. Um,
Yeah.
and so I think that is also like just how I think about things. And then luckily I had a mom who would tell me, you do not think like everybody else, and that is okay.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at that crossword puzzle, when you look at that math problem, you process it differently. Um, and that's fine. And so I went with that. And I still go with that.
That is so amazing. Yeah, how your parents poured into you, and that's we talk a lot about these things that you're saying in um, right now. Is it
Yes.
really is our job to make sure we are helping our kids find their people, find where they fit in, right? And it's not for us to do it, but it's to give them guidance. So
Yeah.
you are a great example of this because we do talk about this a lot on the
Yeah.
podcast.
Love it.
So when you're thinking about, you know your path that led into education, take us now to micro schools. Now, first of all, what is it for people who haven't heard of micro schools?
So you know what a micro school is, but you're right, you haven't heard of it. So basically, the origin of a micro school is how my dad and my great aunts and my great uncles, my grandparents went to school in a one room schoolhouse,
Okay.
where you can have all of the ages. You can have pre-K up to 12th grade.
Okay.
And we say micro schools, you want to have no less than five. Some micro schools go all the way up to 200. If you're a solopreneur, that's what I was. You try not to go over 15, 20, because it's just you. So the
Yes.
way I tell people is if I took the traditional classroom that I taught in public school, 25 to 35, sometimes 38, depending on where I was.
Yes.
And I pull all of those, right, you put all of those students into one room. And you can still do your groups. We know what small grouping is. We can still do that. But they're all mine, they're all together. And then I have the opportunity to personalize their learning. I have the opportunity to let them go down the rabbit hole. I
Yes.
have the opportunity to do project based learning. I have the opportunity to do whatever I want to as long as I know they're getting the academics needed for them. And so I always tell them, I said, think about who you were as a student, right? Somebody like myself, I was reading on the eighth grade reading level in third grade.
Yeah.
The third grade reading, I was like, and then we did round robin back in the 1900s. We don't do it anymore. So we're
I love how you
doing
keep saying
round
1900s.
1900. So we're doing round robin. I read the whole Billy and
Yes.
Peggy played soccer. I'm finished. I've answered the three questions at the end. I've gone to the next story. And so
Yes.
now when it comes time for me, and I put a little dot beside where I was supposed to read because I've counted, Benita's next. Okay. I'm bored out of my mind. But in a micro school, even though Benita's third grade, she's over here with this group that is reading a 10th grade reading a novel. And they're
Mhm.
analyzing, they're doing comprehension. Now, same Benita, third grade math. Oh, I'm in third grade math. Don't move me. Let me say in third. Matter of fact, bring me some manipulatives. Keep me in the third grade math. But we can do that in our micro school. We
Right.
give parents the option. We discipline differently. Normally, there's no discipline problems. Kids want to come because now they're fully engaged and they see themselves. We see them.
Okay, so
We
tell me more about that discipline because that's always an issue that we hear people and there's debates about, not enough discipline or too much discipline or whatever. So what is that like?
so we do. So in real life, you have boundaries, right?
Mhm.
And we have self reflection and we have norms and we have self-assessment. And so when you're able to go into most micro schools, we believe in the whole child, right? And so one of the micro schools I worked in, it was middle school because that's my jam. And I had a student come in. He's like, I didn't sleep at all last night. He came in grumpy. Oh, he was one of my big football boys. He came in grumpy. I said, go take a nap. He looked at me like, that's why we have those big bean bags in the back. Can you go take a nap? Take your shoes off, put the two bean bags together, lay across the bean bag, take your jacket if you're coming, and I'll come get you in an hour. He slept 2 hours. That's fine. When he woke up, he ate lunch or breakfast, his late breakfast. He had a breakfast with him. I said, eat, get yourself together, and come join us. Now, did he have to catch up on what he missed? Yeah. Did he look at his plan and say, okay, I'm gonna do this today, but I need to work in my group for our project-based learning? Okay. Do we need to am I gonna fight you for being grumpy because you're 15 years old and you said to me, I'm tired.
Mhm.
Now I could afford him and we would have had a whole rough day of me and him going back and forth. So at the end of the day, that discipline was removed. There's nothing to discipline. He's tired.
Mm.
And so
Yeah.
when we go into a micro school setting, we're looking at the whole child. What is the real problem? What do we need to unpack here? I've been in a micro school where I had several students. This was their last chance at education. You have been told not to return to the public school, and you've been told not to return to the parochial school, and you've been told not to return to the charter school.
Yes.
This is it. And your mom and your family have to work. And so they came into the micro school and they knew it. I said, this is the last stop. And of course, we're gonna have issues as middle school. Middle
Yeah.
school or middle school. But what we don't have to do is say, I'm going to suspend you for 5 days. No, let's have a conversation for 15 minutes. Let's turn around to the young person and say, I asked you to leave me alone. I verbalized what I needed. Can you explain to me why you didn't respect my boundaries? Because now we're teaching both students, teaching
Yeah.
both young ladies. If I say to you, give me a moment, leave me alone, I'm verbalizing,
Yes.
thank, walk away. We can I need this. And so that is something we always want to teach. And so we have that time to do that. In public school, I did as much social emotional teaching as I could, but I didn't have time. But now we can have that time.
Absolutely.
And when we do that, the discipline decreases. And we know I can only speak for middle schoolers because that's my thing. In
Yeah.
middle school, I don't want to be up in here. You don't want me, I can't wear my hoodie. You want me in this ugly uniform. I can't be myself. In my face, my hormones are raging, boys and girls, and I need calm and safe, and I don't have that. So we make sure it's calm and safe. And then the discipline we do have, let's have discussions. We're gonna pull parents in. We're gonna
Mhm.
have meetings. You may need to take a break from us for a day, but we try not to get there. We're
Right.
trying to figure out what's going on. And I would say we have time to do it. We know that in traditional settings, it's about the time. We just don't have time. And in this, we do have time to unpack some things. We have time to pull in other resources, and the discipline drops.
The Rewrite Method and the Rewrite Method Workbook are your go-to resource for helping kids to learn to fall in love with writing. It has the tips, tools, resources, strategies, and skill building activities to help kids fall out of writing hate and into loving to write. Get your book set today.
And then at the
Okay.
end of the day, they know, look, you might not be a good fit. That's okay.
Right. Yes.
And,
Mhm.
and
This
I'm going to release you to find the perfect school for you and your family. Thank you. Because some stuff is egregious and some stuff we're not gonna do. And
good.
that's
And that's another thing, like, every place isn't for everybody. Sometimes that parochial school is perfect for someone. The micro school is good for some people. The public school, it just depends. And it could be a number one school. It still may not be the one for your child, right?
Girl, say it
And
again.
so, yeah.
Say it again for the
And
people in the
so,
back.
yeah, so that's what we need to understand. We talk a lot about this on the podcast. So tell us a little bit about your education, like what you did in the public schools, what you taught, and what brought you out of it.
Goodness, I started in 3rd grade. I ooh, I started in 3rd grade with an aide and only 12 students. Yeah, I was living the life. I was like, "Oh, this is teaching." This ain't nothing. Did have a little observation, and they were like, "Girl, you're not teaching gifted kids, you're teaching regular kids. Break it down some more." Had great mentors in Sussex County, Virginia, then transferred over to Newport News, Virginia, and that's when I got into middle school. And in middle school, I taught history, social studies, English. And then I taught, we called it back then, it was the co-taught class. So it was myself and another teacher teaching students who may have been 2 or 3 grade levels behind or had learning disabilities.
So you call
Loved
it code tour code?
co-teaching. So we were
Okay.
co-teaching. Mhm.
Okay.
Loved it. Um, Trained by amazing co-teachers who were seasoned, but they knew how to train us call ourselves general ed. The general ed teachers, because they were the special education teachers. And so we
Okay.
merged to bring these classes together. Did that for a couple of years. Was a military spouse. So of course I'm overseas, moving around as a teacher's aide in kindergarten, realizing teacher's aide in kindergarten was great. Loved my main teacher, was not a fan of kindergartners. Was like, I don't, what are we doing? Why are you crying? What's the problem? Because I had gone from 3rd grade down to kindergarten.
Yes,
Then when
they
I
could do
left there, I went,
less.
what are you talking about? Wow, what's home? Did you just put your booger on me? Like, what is happening? And so I was like, okay, Lord, this is not my thing. I'm going back to my middle schoolers. And people are like, back to middle school? And I'm like, yeah, because why not? Um, these are my people. And they're like,
Mm.
and I realized in middle school, I was transferring, we were moving, and I was getting all of these interviews in um, the rough side of of the city. And I remember saying to one of the guys who interviewed me, I said, why do I keep getting interviews with these particular schools on this side of DC? And he said, have you looked at your resume? And I was like, "Uh, it's my resume." And he said, but in your resume, you are considered a turnaround teacher. And I said, I don't even know what that is. And he said, well, you go in and the students' scores and grades are this way. And when you leave, their scores and grades are this way. And so they've deemed you a person who can come in and make a difference. I said, that's
Mm.
why Georgetown schools are not calling me. And he was like, yeah. I said, okay, well, let me lean into it. And so I leaned into it and I became a turnaround specialist where I go into schools that were on fire or failing. And I
Mm.
stayed 2 to 3 years and we helped turn it around.
As a
And
teacher in the classroom.
as a teacher in the classroom, but also you would be a teacher in the classroom. You would come in and say, the teachers have been teaching there. You would come in, they would hire me to come in as department chair or team lead. So I
Okay.
come in leading, but I'm also teaching 2 to 3 classes.
So it's like coaching. It's a hybrid role. I love
Type
that.
of role, yeah, and come in and you're teaching. And then I transitioned from there to a dean of culture and climate. And then from there, a dean of discipline and culture and climate, because we'll combine everything so they want to pay you more. And that has been my journey. So then I got there and then I started thinking of something else. Like, this
Okay.
is great because I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm going to apologize later, close my door. The kids don't say, close the door. And I'll be like, today is no talking. You just go have these check marks and you're going to use your laptop and you use your phone. And I would put a sign on my door like, phone usage approved. And they would be like, approved by who? Me. I approved it. And the kids was like,
Absolutely.
what? Or some days we would be finished early and I'd be like, look, everybody come get this worksheet and answer number 3, 5, and 6. Okay. Slide, put the worksheet right here. I'm going to put the thing on the board. We're going to take the last 20 minutes of class and do nothing. So if you want to put your AirPod in or something and just hide it. And so actually put it in this ear. So if they walk in the room, they can't see it. And they can't, what? I said, shh, I got to put these grades in. If you work with me,
I'll
I'll.
work with you.
And so here I'm breaking all the rules because phones in the class and if the phone is out, take the phone. I'm not the phone police. And I realized then I was tired of grading. I'm tired of being phone police. I'm tired of being uniform police.
Mm.
I'm just, I was like, it has to be another way to teach. It has to be. And COVID came and we went online and the kids were still learning and they loved it because I changed it. And it was more like college. And while they're doing that, I'm Googling like alternative schools. And when you do alternative schools, they talk about kids are the bad kids. I'm not talking about them. And I'm like innovative schools. And when I clicked
Yes.
innovative schools, Kind Academy popped up with Iman Eileen. I love her. She saved me from going crazy. And Kind Academy is a micro school in Florida. And I was in Florida at the time.
Okay.
And she trains us. And there's a community. And so I went to one of their little webinars and I was sitting, in a little box like I'm in there. And I was like, these are my people. I am not crazy. I want to open a school. And that's what
Yeah.
led me there was like basically at COVID time, one of my students, he said this, he said, not to be disrespectful. And I was like, oh Lord, he about to be disrespectful. And I was like, I told y'all stop saying that because stop saying it and think about what you're going to say. How can you say it? And so he was like, he said, I prefer to have your class online and to have history online. And I would prefer to come into the school building for math and science to do the labs and have hands-on. I said, that's not disrespectful. You're telling me. I said, and the reality is there are schools like this. He was like,
Yeah.
"Where?" And that got me thinking because here we are in COVID and the kids are telling me, I really don't want to come back to school. You can teach me online forever. And they're doing the work. They're passing, we're learning, we're growing, we're still testing, all of the things. And they're telling me. So I'm sitting here going, it's got to be. Like, how do I get out of this?
Yeah.
And I didn't. And schools opened back up and they closed all those doors of the innovative stuff we saw. And I suffered for about 4 more years. And finally, I was like, Lord, I can't. I can't. And so I said, I'll make me a 2-year plan. And I'm going to retire myself after 26 years on my birthday. This going to be
I
my
love
last,
that.
okay? This going to 26 years on May 26th, my last 8th grade class. I was in Memphis at the time.
What
And
year was this?
oh, Lord. It's been 3 years now.
Okay.
3 years now. It will be 4 what's this, 2026? Yeah, it'll be 3 years now.
Okay.
And I said, okay, Lord, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I called my brother-in-law and my sister and said, can I move back in with y'all in Miami in the guest room? And they said, yeah. So I packed up and I went back and I worked at Ed Tech. But I'm working at Ed Tech, but I'm still meeting with Kind Academy. I found KaiPod. I'm doing this. I'm building. And I said, let me open this micro school. So I opened a micro school online. And then I started tutoring in the afternoon, and the parents were like, can you open a school? So we started a school. We did it for almost a year. Then I closed it because I was relocating. And that's what got me there. It was a simple fact that I had a thought that it has to be something different than what I'm doing now. And that student telling me that's what they wanted.
Yes.
And then that's when I was like, oh, I got this. And then how do I get engaged in the community? And then I found a National Association of Black Middle School Leaders. I went to a VELA conference in DC.
What's Vela?
So VELA, don't make me lie. Don't make me lie. I'm gonna have to Google it. Keep talking.
Google it for us. That's okay. Yeah.
I know
So,
the real definition of it.
so if I'm a parent listening in, this sounds
Yeah.
great. I don't have no money though, or whatever.
No.
Like, how am I funding this or getting my kid into it?
Let me tell you. So it depends on where you live.
Okay.
It depends on what you want. So there are homeschool hubs where homeschool parents come together, or it's a micro school that deals with homeschool parents. So that means you can come 2 days a week, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, and we're off on Friday, or we do field trips on Friday.
Okay.
that tuition is going to look different because you're only
Okay.
going 2 days a week.
Okay.
And really, it's to come in to work on project-based learning or to come in and do STEM or robotics or higher level math or to come in and say, maybe I need to work 2 days a week. Maybe I need to go to the office 2 days a week. So those are the 2 days you're going to go
Got it.
here.
That makes sense.
Um,
Okay.
so that's going to look different. Where do you live? My school was here in Cutler Bay in South Miami. So our tuition was like $12,000. Now that's
Okay.
nothing because the private school up the street is $40,000 a year for elementary school.
Yes.
I was with middle school and high schoolers. And
Okay.
so, but I also was in a state where they have
The
ES,
vouchers?
the vouchers. And so
Okay.
I made sure, and because every state voucher looks different, you make sure you're aligned and you're certified and you put yourself into the marketplace so parents can find you and see you. And then they're able to use that funding to pay for their child's tuition.
Got it.
Um, and then a lot of states still don't have it. And so if the parents, if you're paying private school tuition at $40,000 a year, and you find my school or any of the founders that I know, and
Mhm.
we're only charging 12 to 15,000, you're okay. You're like, yeah, sign me up. Because what's the problem? And so it will vary depending. And some schools do sliding scales, so they look at the parents' guardians' income, and
Okay.
so the parents who are paying 60,000 already, they may pay 20,000. And
Mhm.
the parents who were coming from the public school, you may only pay 8,000. And then if the voucher gives you 9,000, you're good, you're covered.
Got it.
And so
Sounds great.
yeah, so it really depends. And one of the things I do believe in founders, we want parents and guardians to have some skin in the game, like you say. And so a lot of times the voucher is 12,000, your tuition might be 13,000, and then parents pay 100 a month. Or you do a deposit to hold a spot, and then we just use that deposit to roll over
Okay.
into payment plans. And so there's always a way
Okay.
to get it done. A lot of, if they're an LLC micro school, they get with a fiscal sponsor who is a nonprofit and they help them fund it, or they start a completely different nonprofit for all of the education needs. And then that helps with tuition sometimes. So they get scholarships.
Okay.
And so then
Wonderful.
And then Vela gives you some scholarships.
Okay.
And so Vela gives scholarships. I want to say, I work. KaiPod is another organization that helps with funding. Um,
Can you spell KaiPod for us?
KAIPOD.
Okay.
Yep, there are. Look at me looking for Vela, and you know what? It doesn't even tell us. It just says own your education.
And what is it? How do you spell Vela?
Capital V, capital E, capital L, capital A. And you
Okay.
know what? I just thought about it. I was like, I've never seen them break down.
What it
Yeah,
means.
it's not even broken down what it means.
Okay.
I just know it's an amazing organization. Then you have smaller organizations. And so that's why a lot of times you have that nonprofit 501
Mhm.
arm so that you can get grants.
Okay.
And so so if your school is focused on STEM, which we all are, or
Yeah.
STEAM or dance, or you want to do a 6-month project-based learning about the history of your city, there's normally a grant you can look for, find, and apply for. And a lot of times they are geared towards nonprofits, but sometimes they aren't. I've gotten several grants that they were not geared specifically for nonprofits. You just need to have your ducks in a row as a business.
Got it. All right. So tell us, I know that you are doing it's micro school week, right? And tell us
Yeah.
tell us where we can find out more. We can follow some of these online offerings so we could get more information.
Yeah, so we have Micro Schools Week. It is actually sponsored by Micro Schools Network. They are at Micro Schools Near Me. That's literally their Instagram handle. I love it. And the National Association of Black Micro School Leaders,
Mm,
NABML. They are both on LinkedIn and Facebook. But I'm going live, and everybody's part of the micro school movement. They are doing different things. But
okay.
I love going live every year and getting different founders to come. And so this year, go to my Instagram is the EDU concierge. and you'll see it. But I'm also on LinkedIn. So I'm posting on LinkedIn. We go live on TikTok. We go live on Instagram. And then it connects, Instagram now connects to your Facebook. And so
Okay.
it's there. And I do want to say this. I came from public schools where we did a lot of gatekeeping
Mm.
from the parents, from the teacher, other teachers, from the administrators. In the micro school world, we don't gatekeep. If you have a question and I can't answer it, I'm gonna connect you to somebody on LinkedIn or Instagram and say, hey, they have a 15-year-old, they're in Arizona, they have questions. Can you help them? And so that's always tell people, come listen to the live, follow the people that are there. And
Mhm.
anytime you have a question, go into their DMs professionally, and ask questions. Ask about funding like you did. Ask about organizations. What is the community like? How do I get started? And as a parent, sometimes parents, we do have to untrain you from the public schools, and that's okay.
Mm.
Parents of high schoolers and middle schoolers want to know, do you do grades or portfolios because they want to matriculate to college and university? um, Younger students, how do you know they mastered it? So all of the questions that parents and guardians, I'm the auntie, and aunties and uncles and godparents are going to ask. We have no problem explaining how a micro school works. And a lot of time you're able to come in. We want to know you to see if you're going to fit. Is
Right.
this a good fit for your child? So they'll do day of discovery. They will do open houses. They will give you a call. And so don't parents ask all the questions. How do you handle if my child is having an asthma attack? What do you
Mm.
do if an unauthorized person comes up here to pick up my child?
Mm.
This is still about us being safe in our environment. And this
Right.
is your most precious thing that you're giving to us. And we need that trust. So I tell my parents, ask all the questions. Go up there as many times as you need to go. And if you don't feel it's right and they don't feel it's right, and you said it earlier, that's okay.
Yeah.
But that's what we're doing in Micro Schools Week. So we want everybody to know we're out there. We're from Arizona, Virginia. I've had Florida, California. I can't remember where everybody is for the rest of the week, but everywhere. And that's what we do. And it's important. You have National School Choice Week. We're doing Micro Schools Week now. Next week is Nurse Appreciation and Teacher Appreciation Week. And so all of the things kind of come and culminate in May because we're ready to get out of school. And so yeah, go to my LinkedIn, follow me there, come to our live, ask all the questions. I ask the questions while they're in live. When the questions, they were like, oh, I'm gonna read it out to them, or they're gonna read it, be like, Benita, I really want to answer this one. So let me see. And understand that there's no micro school that's the same.
Mm.
The only thing that goes through everybody is that we want to teach the children, and it's innovative. But
Okay.
there's nothing that's going to be the same, even if they're in the same city, because the mission and the person who created and developed, they listen to their clients, which are the parents and the students. And
Okay.
we're like, what do you need? What do you want? What's going to be best? And we matriculate through that. So that's why you'll say some people are using grades, the traditional grades. Some people aren't.
Got
Some
it.
people have up to 200. Some people like, when I get to 25, we're
We're
gonna close
good.
the door. So we're
Mhm.
good. So you're gonna continue to look. I don't know. I tell people it took me a long time to find a loctician. Took me a long time to trust somebody to touch my hair. And it's
Mhm.
gonna be the same way finding your child. But ask questions, join the Facebook groups,
Okay.
look on LinkedIn, look on TikTok. We're on there. We are showing you what the kids are doing. What does a day in that classroom look like? The kids are taking over. They're doing the channel for us. We have permission from parents and they've signed the forms.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, that's important. So I'm excited about micro school. I love innovative spaces. If somebody builds another school that looks like a prison, if you build another school that looks like a jailhouse,
Mm-mm. Yeah, they're out there. I'm hearing more and more about those schools. I'm in a very
ooh,
old school. My school where I work is over 100 years old. So,
oh,
but yeah,
what are they gonna do? What are we doing?
I
What's
guess they have plans to renovate and
happening?
rebuild certain things. But yeah, they're. But yeah, so yeah, but the schools that don't have like windows and stuff like that, I'd rather have the old school.
I was like, yeah, and I didn't know. So, because once again, I'm from rural Virginia, we had windows everywhere because we're country kids. We trying to get outside, open the window so we can smell outside. Like, how do we get out here? And I remember I was ed tech, so I go into the schools and training teachers about the program. And I remember walking in the building, and I was like,
What's missing? Where's the windows? Yeah.
and so you had to go in, and then there was a rotunda. And so, like, the light was coming. It's just like, y'all got to be kidding me. No. And so I remember going to talking to the assistant principal, and I was like, so tell me about the windows. And she started laughing. She's like, I saw you on the camera when you walked through, and you was like, and I was like, because I've never been to prison. I've never
They
been
the
to jail.
same builders? I think they are or
Oh,
something.
definitely.
Yeah.
And because that's even now, even the new schools, they're the same builders, but now they have understood. Like, I guess you have educators now who are on your team. Because even now, like, placing the outlets or the projector. I went to one school and said, who put these projectors up? They are backwards. Like,
Yeah, that's another thing about schools. Like public schools are constantly getting input from people who aren't teaching, who
I
aren't in the
teach.
classroom. They don't talk to you about it or nothing. Like it's like we could have talked to them about this. This doesn't even make any sense. And then, this is what you have as a public school
That's it.
teacher. This is what it is. This is how it is. They don't care that of course, if I'm going to design your house, it would help if I would talk to you about what you want the house like and how you use it and what spaces. No, I'm just going to design it the way I want. And that's what we deal with in public schools. And it's just
Right.
like, this is
Us.
someone made a new policy. Like, where'd the policy come from? And what made them think that made sense?
You be sitting there like,
And they're
we
like, this
just
is how it
like,
is. And it's like, this is how it is. This is it.
and I
Like,
think, and that's one of the things you will hear a lot of micro school founders. They were like, just like me. I was like, you were just tired. And you were like, I can't do this because it makes no sense. Like, this is not making any. And I mean, like, I was telling somebody, I was like, here I am. We're like 3 weeks on this committee to pick the new social studies books. And we're reading and this is serious because I was in the state of Virginia and, Virginia has a lot of history. And I grew up, like, my teachers taught us all of the history from Pocahontas to
yes.
enslavement to all of the things, everything. They shut down this county because they didn't want to integrate. So none of the black
Right.
kids, they didn't get a diploma till I was in high school. Now these people are grown, but the white kids were able to go to school because they opened an academy. So they told us the truth. Okay. So
Yeah.
here I am, and I'm like looking at these social studies books for 3 weeks. We stand after school. A book adoption committee.
Mm-hmm.
We give you our recommendations. You
They give you
pick the
something
one
else.
that's the last one on the list, the worst one.
It keeps happening. Yeah, it's happened. I'm in California. We have spent time on book adoptions, and then they're like, "Oh, something happened with that publisher that we
No, it
chose.
did.
They weren't vetted, or they didn't have this." I was like, "Then what were they doing at the road show or whatever they call it?"
Yeah,
Like,
why they at the table?
I was like, so yeah, they just didn't want us to have what we, like, and we
No.
know we've been through
Yeah.
it. Like, we spent all this time really being serious about what we're going to choose, and then you gave us something else.
Yes.
And basically they had two choices that they gave. It's like, because you wanted to pretend like we had a choice.
Why you? And then you wasted my time. I could have been tutoring the kids or doing I could have been asleep. What are you talking?
Resting. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's like if you weren't going to choose it, like, yeah, but yeah, same story.
So I will say this, because I think sometimes parents be like, these micro school people, they don't even like public schools. Stop. Full stop. I'm a product of public school. I taught at public school. My mom was a public school teacher. My aunts, uncles, and cousins, and my grandmother, all public school teachers. What we are saying to you is that may not be the fit for your child. And there are options and there's opportunity to find the fit to educate the amazing human being that you are raising. And that's why we have micro schools.
I love it. You summed it up. We love that. So thanks again for joining us on the Falling
Thank
for Learning
you.
podcast. Parents, educators out there, As I always say, do something today that gives your child the competitive advantage. Please check out Benita and all the things that she has, her community, learning about micro schools. And again, have a great week.
Thanks again for supporting the Falling for Learning podcast. New episodes go live every Saturday at 5 p.m. You can watch us on youtube.com at Falling for Learning or listen on all major podcast platforms such as Apple, Google, Audible, Spotify, and much more. For more resources, visit fallinginlovewithlearning.com. We really appreciate you. Have a wonderful week.